So today's the 27th day of Nisan, the 25th of April. And next week, on Tuesday, I'll be in Los Angeles. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
You're leaving when again?
Tuesday morning.
Tuesday.
And Shabbos I'll be at CPY. CPY. Was that around when you were there? Chabad Persian Youth?
Oh,
It's on Pico.
Run by who?
Rabbi Per. I doubt it was around when you were there. Maybe it was just starting.
Yeah.
And then Sunday we have a big seminar at the Beverly Hills Municipal Center.
Really?
Municipal, what's it called? Municipal something.
But the city municipal.
Yeah, it's by City Hall. It's in Rexford, 455 Rexford, and it'll be on the Hebrew letters. It's very
on the Hebrew letters.
On the Hebrew letters. We're going to sit on them. And then Monday I'll be in Las Vegas. Tuesday I'll be in Houston. And
which Rob in Vegas?
Shanowitz.
Sure.
Oh, you know.
I know of him very
Okay.
well.
And
They buried my shver when they were just there. He and Harlech, I believe.
I see.
They did a big mitzvah for us.
And then Thursday, Friday, and Shabbos I'll be in London.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, so let's see where we're holding. So we said why there's 4, not 5, because we have the same configuration as we have in general with the Sefirot, that wisdom is different than all the other Sefirot. Now, this is a cornerstone of Chassidic thought, that wisdom is different. It comes from the Maggid. I don't know if it comes from the Baal Shem Tov. I don't know where to trace it, because the Alter Rebbe always mentions that it comes from the Maggid. I don't know if the Maggid got it from the Baal Shem Tov. But the repercussions for Chassidus are tremendous. And this is where certainly there's some kind of hint of this in Kabbalah, but it's not so clear. I mean, the hint is easy because Chochma, like we said, it's the Palate Choch, which is Chech, same thing. Same letters, Chet Chaf, means palate. And then Ma. Ma means either what, that's how a modern speaker would say, but like Moses says, V'nachnu ma, we are not, we are nothing. So ma can also mean nothing. Actually, when you say ma, when you say what, you're saying
really,
I'm nothing. Yeah. I didn't understand what you said. So it's really where it comes from. So this is the cornerstone of Chassidus, because when you understand that there's some kind of nullification going on here, and that all of this is in the Arizal, in the Ariz writings. This is what's called the new name Ma. There's a name called Ma. What do we mean by Ma? We don't mean the what or the nothing. We mean the value of the letters. Ma is 45, and that's the basic filling of Hashem's name, Yud Kei Vav Kei. So Yud Vav Dalid Hey Aleph Vav Aleph Vav Hey Aleph is equal to 45. This is the most important filling. There's 4 that are important, but this one's the most important one. Why? Because this is the one that rectifies reality. After the world of chaos collapsed, was broken, was blemished, then the new light that comes out of the forehead, it says, of Ak, of primordial man. And this light is called the name Ma. It's called the new name Ma, Shem Ma Chadash. And it rectifies everything. So you have to ask, so what's going on here? Why did you choose that? Why is it not one of the others? Where did you get this? So in the Maggid's teachings, this became the cornerstone, that to rectify, to build back anything, to fix anything, you have to have bittul, you have to have nullification. So the first ones to exhibit this type of nullification, we talked about this, were the patriarchs. That they didn't have commandments,
Right,
they had nullification.
Yeah.
So nullification became their vehicle, their instrument for beginning to rectify reality. Then, once they begin to rectify something, then the commandments come down. And that means that they've begun to build the kingdom. So the kingdom really is built by the king, and the king commands. So that's when God appears. But ultimately, we have to incorporate both directions.
God appears at the beginning of their nullification, is that what you're saying?
No, after. After they've worked as much as they
then
can,
God comes in with commandments.
Then Moses is able to receive the commandments.
Right.
Again, the entire people received them together, but the idea was it came through Moses. And and this is the whole premise of Chassidus, we have to incorporate both. Both the
nullification,
what we have now, which is the commandments,
but we have to
and
go
we have to
back
go
to the
back to the nullification in order to finish
that's
the
our whole
work.
struggle, isn't it? In a sense, or our whole. I don't
And I said that that's the Tanya. That's the gist of the entire Tanya. That it's not enough to have commandments; you also have to have nullification. And this the Alter Rebbe received again, as far as I know. He quotes it. He cites the Magid every time. He doesn't cite the Baal Shem Tov. And I haven't seen it in the Baal Shem. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Just means that that's how the Alter Rebbe cites it all the time, as something that came from the Magid. So it's not surprising that here too, the Tzemach Tzedek identifies the Gichak, the palate letters.
Who does it? I'm sorry.
Here we're the Tzemach Tzedek, right?
Okay. I'm sorry.
So here we're talking about his grandson.
Yeah.
So he says that the letters that come from the palate again is Chech.
Yes.
These correspond to Chochmah. They're different than the other letters in some way. This origin of the letters, this of the 5 origins, corresponds to wisdom.
Yes.
And because it corresponds to wisdom, it's different than all the others.
Yes.
And that's how he solves this problem with there being 5 origins and only 4 encampments of angels.
I see.
So he says the 4 encampments of angels, they correspond to the other 4 origins.
Yes.
And the 5th one is a general origin. Like, although letters come out of it, it's also the origin of all the origins.
Yes.
Somehow the palate is more important than the throat. In Kabbalah, the explanation would be usually that we say the palate is Chochmah. That's usually how it's explained. And the throat is Bina. So we actually encountered it. I don't know if you remember, we mentioned Charon, Nichar Groni, Charon Af Shel Makom. Nichar Groni was that you don't want to have a croaky throat, like that your throat is dry. Yeah. We talked about this when we were talking about Egypt.
Yes.
That anyway, so that's the Garon. The Garon is related to where Paro was. Right? We said that Paro was stuck in the throat. He's stuck in your throat, as it were, and he has this 3 ministers with him. That whole image that we saw back then. So that's how he solves this. So that's his solution. And he gives a very interesting verse for this, that the origin of the palate is different. He brings a verse from the Song of Songs, chapter 5, verse 16. Shene'emar chiko mamtakim. His palate is all sweetness. Now, this word mamtakim is very important because today mamtakim means sweets. Yeah. But chiko mamtakim means that with the palate, all manners of sweetening happen. That's the idea. The only time we have sweetening in the entire Torah and the Pentateuch is at the end of the Song of the Sea. Moses takes them from the sea, and they come to a place called Marah, and there the water is bitter. And he throws the stick into which they say is an olive branch, and he throws it into the water, and it sweetens the water. It's the one time that the root to sweeten appears in the Chumash. Wow. It's nowhere else. Now, why is this important for us? Because that verse ends with Ani Hashem Rofecha. I am Hashem, your healer. So we understand that to sweeten is to heal. And so all manner of healing comes, he says, from the palate, or the way we're understanding it now more deeply. It's not just the palate in the sense of these letters, Gichak, which is okay, that's in and of itself, because he said also letters come from there. The idea is that nullification is the root of all healing. That's the real idea, that you have to learn how to nullify in order to heal. So a lot of people look for all kinds of remedies and different things. They're all very good, but they work because the person has reached a state of nullification. If he hasn't reached a state of nullification yet, then the medicine, whatever type of medicine it is, whether it's Western medicine, Chinese medicine, doesn't matter, it can't work so well.
Can we carry this further to a tzaddik's bracha?
Yeah, of course, because that brings about the nullification. When a person listens to the tzaddik.
Own nullification?
Right.
That was the Rebbe's comment.
Right. It's to give others, the bracha really is a chance to give others nullification.
No, you can't.
Right, that's what he's doing. When he's giving you, for instance, $1.
Nullification.
Right, so he's giving it to you. When you connect to him, you're connecting to
his nullification.
Right, to Hashem. Right. He's giving you nullification. It's a shortcut. Of course, it should be more... Anyway, he says, פירוש כמו שהכרח גשמי יש בו מעלה מיוחדת שירגיש הטעמים והתענוג שבמתיקות. So he says, but now let me explain this. He says, what does it mean his palate is sweet? So it's not just that this gives, because nullification, it sweetens everything, but it's also that it has the ability to taste sweetness. This is a very important thing. You can't possess a quality unless you're sensitive to it.
Yeah, right.
You can be sensitive to a quality and not possess it. But if you possess a quality, you have to also be sensitive to it. It's a very, very important point. There's many things in life that somebody says, look, I don't know how to do this, but I know how to explain it. So that could be. But if you know how to do it,
Yes.
you should be able to also explain it. Meaning you have to be sensitive to it also. You have to see it in others. So in other words, if the Mashiach himself, let's say, or any great person, has a certain quality, he's able to recognize it in others. And that's why he's able to recognize it, because he possesses the same quality. But it's not always true that someone who can recognize something possesses the quality. Sometimes somebody can recognize things and they're sensitive to it, but they don't actually possess it. So here he says...
I like that. I recognize things I don't possess.
Right. Many of us do.
Yeah, I know.
We understand more than we're able to do.
Right.
So now he says, so the palate is the one that tastes all the different types of sweetness. כמו שכתוב, וכך אוכל איתם. And the palate tastes food. And it's interesting that in the end, the palate is what it's called in English also. Right? You don't say tonguely or something like that. You say palatable.
Yes.
When you want to say that something is
able,
able, right? You don't say it's teethable.
You
don't say it's throatable. You say
taste
it's
is
palatable.
right, I
The
understand.
palate, in some way, even in English, it retains this superiority or centrality over the other parts of the.
Yes.
So it's a very interesting thing that he says it happens both in taste and in the formation of language.
Yeah.
And so that's maybe a stronger hint from the call it the physical world, that there is something more general about the palate than about the throat.
Yeah.
Again, I would have thought that it's the throat, because everything, that's where the origin is. The origin, it seems that, but he says really
The is in the throat.
it's part of it. It's part of it.
Yeah.
But the letters, the guttural letters, come
are
from
down.
deeper inside, and the hay certainly comes from
certainly
much lower.
Much lower, yeah.
But he said, but I guess what he's saying is that it's not so much where the wind for making the letters is coming from that makes it important, but rather the ability to taste is like an example that something here is different about this origin than it is about the other. So it's a very interesting proof for it.
It's a good time to. We're late, so I don't.
Yeah, but
it'll go fast.
nobody's.
I know, but it'll go. Yeah.
Let's just spend one more verse. וכמו חך הרוחני ובחינת חוכמה שבו הוא סוד הטעמים. He says the spiritual palate is the same way. What do we mean by the spiritual palate? We said already that it's wisdom. So that the job of wisdom is to recognize a true reason. Meaning, I tell you something, and I tell you the reason for this is so and so. Wisdom is the one that recognizes whether this is true or not. It's not bina. It's not understanding. Wisdom is the measure of the good taste in an idea, in an explanation. It's not like a proof. You're not looking for a proof. It's almost like tasting it. Do I taste that this sounds right, or does it not sound right? So we'll leave it at that, and God willing, continue next week.
Finally, last night I did it before.